All right, let's go over Journey's training so that way we can stay consistent at home. We want to make sure we reinforce and reward those behaviors that we want to keep seeing, such as following our commands with either praise, petting, or treats. And then with those behaviors that we don't want to see, those unwanted behaviors, we can follow through with our training equipment so that way we decrease those behaviors. So let's dive into Journey's training equipment. This is his prong collar. He's going to wear this whenever he is on a leash. The leash is going to attach to the D-ring that swivels. And how we put this on and off is we're just going to secure one of the links and push through like so. To put it back together, we just pinch the prong and put it through the holes of the other link. With this, it's going to be a pop and release motion and not a pull and hold. So say he's in the heel position. Heel just means walk next to me on a nice loose leash. Say he's starting to pull ahead. We're going to say no to verbally mark that incorrect behavior we don't want to see. Give him a pop of the leash and then remind him heel. So no, pop, heel. And then when he gets back into the position where we want him, we can give him verbal praise, petting, and treats to let him know that he's doing a good job. Now let's go over his e-collar, how we turn this on and off. A red dot on the collar, red dot on the remote. You're going to touch these together. The green light means it's on, charged, and ready to go. How we turn on the remote, on and off button on the back. Push and hold until the screen lights up. You're going to see level 20 appear on the screen. This is Journey's level. It's working for him. And then today we're going to focus on the black S button. S just stands for stimulation, so it's kind of like an electric muscle stimulator. So say he's in that heel position and he's not really where we want him. We're going to say no, marking that incorrect behavior that we don't want to see. Black S button, heel. No, button, heel. Then depending on the level of distraction that Journey has, we may use one of these, we may use both of these. It depends on the situation that we are in. With the e-collar, we're going to put this on first thing in the morning, and then it's going to be the last thing that we take off at night. So that way we always have a form of communication with Journey throughout the day. And then in the beginning, you'll probably have the prong and the leash on in the house, so that way we can set those boundaries with him and then slowly fade away from needing the leash and the prong on in the house. So that is Journey's training equipment. So now let's go over his commands. We've already kind of gone over the heel, but about 80 to 90% of walks should be in the heel position. The other 10 to 20%, you can give him the release word free. Free just means he's not in any set command and he can go do his business and explore. That's his time to enjoy the walk. Then we have sit. Sit means stay as implied until he is given the release word free. With this, it's really good for those door manners so that he can't just bolt through a door. So whenever we approach a door, whether it's inside or outside, we're going to have him sit. As we open the door, we're going to remind him sit. And then we have two options. We can either heel through the door with him or give him the release word free and let him go through the door on his own. So he sits and he stays the whole time. Great. If not, we're going to follow through with our training equipment until he gets it right. So that way we set the same boundaries at home that we have here at the facility. And so that way he knows that he has to sit when the first time we ask and not the seventh time that we ask. Now we have down. Down means stay as implied as well. With the down, we don't want to release him from a distance because then he's getting rewarded for coming to us and not staying in that down stay. So when we put him in a down and we do a distraction, we're going to go back to him and release him from where he is at. And also, whenever we reward this behavior, we're going to reward as low to the ground as possible. So that way he knows that the positive zone is low to the ground. Now we have place. Place is a boundary stay, ideally on an elevated bed. This is really good for whenever we have company coming over, so that way he can still experience everything that is going on, but he is on a set boundary, so he can't get in the way of people coming in or jump on them or give us any other unwanted behavior that we don't want to see. So whenever we practice this, we also don't want to release him from a distance because we don't want to reward him for coming to us. We want to reward him for staying on that place stay. So say we put him on place and we do a little distraction, great. We're going to go back to him and release him. Also with this, we're going to reward on the bed so he knows that the positive zone is the bed. When you're first practicing this, I suggest having a leash on him so that way if he does get off the bed, we have a way to guide him back to the bed if we need to. Now we have come when called. With this, usually whenever we need him to come back to us, it's whenever he's in that distracted state of mind. So we're going to give him the release word free, let him get distracted and do his own thing. Then when we call him to us, we're going to say it in a loud, firm tone. Praise him as he's coming to us. Back up to invite him into our space, have him sit, and then give him the reward. When you first practice this, I would suggest having a 30 to 50 foot leash on him so that way if he decides to ignore our command, we have a way to kind of reel him back in like a fish if we need to. With this command, we also reward this every single time so that way he gets a positive association with coming into our space. So say he doesn't follow us whenever we ask him to come on the first time. So we're just going to say no, black S button, come. We're still going to praise him as he's coming to us because we want him to know that coming to us is always going to be a positive, and then he still gets a reward when he gets to us. We're never going to correct him out here and then correct him when he gets to us because being in our space is a positive. And then we have leave it. Leave it just means don't grab that. So when he first practices, start out with dog safe food. So that way if he decides to ignore us, it's not a big deal. But if he ignores or if he follows our command, great. If not, we're going to follow through with our training equipment so that way he knows that he can't just pick stuff up off the ground. Ideally, have a leash on him to begin with so that way if you need to guide him into a different scenario, you can. So that is all of Journey's equipment and his commands. So we want to make sure we reinforce and reward those behaviors that we want to keep seeing, like following our commands. And then those unwanted behaviors like jumping or anything, we want to decrease those behaviors with following through with our training equipment. So that is everything. So we're going to watch him do his commands. So have fun and stay consistent. Down. Good. Down. Down. Good. Down. Good. Down. Good. Down. Good. Down. Good. Down. Good boy. 3. Good boy. All right, let's go over the other features of the remote. We already know how to turn them both on. Now let's go over how to turn them off. Red dot on the remote, red dot on the collar. Touch these together. This turns off the collar. On and off button on the back of the remote. Push and hold until the screen goes blank. It takes a little bit longer than turning it on. Once the screen is blank, you know that it is off. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on, and we're going to go over the other buttons on the remote. So we already kind of know what the red black S button is. The black S button is just the level that is on the screen. So this red S button, whenever his level is 20, whenever we push this red S button, it is going to jump his level to 40. This is a way we have to communicate with him whenever he is doing something dangerous that is going to cause him harm, such as chasing a car. So whenever he is in that high adrenaline state of mind, 20 only reaches about here. Whenever he's in that state of mind, he's about up here. So we have a way to communicate with him whenever he is doing something dangerous or is going to cause him harm. So, and then on the other side of the remote, we have a T button. This just stands for vibrate. We use this to make sure that the collar is on, but whenever he gets further into his training, you can transfer over to this. If you notice he's not really needing the stem, he just needs a little bit of a reminder. On the back of the remote, we have an M/C button. This just stands for momentary or continuous. At the beginning of his training, we start at a very low level at continuous to introduce it in a positive way. Then we switch over to momentary at a little bit of a higher level, so he should stay on momentary the rest of his training. Say you notice level 20 isn't working for him, say he's not really reacting or he's having too much of a reaction, we can change that by holding down the dial. Once that 1D at the top of the screen is flashing, we can rotate this and change it to whatever level we want. So level 20 is working great for him, so we're just going to lock that back into place by holding down the dial. This is so whenever we put it in our pocket, it's not going to accidentally change on us whenever we aren't aware of it. Both the remote and the collar are rechargeable. Here's the recharging port on the remote. On the collar, it is underneath the prongs. We have a charging that can charge both of them at the same time. It stays charged for about 2 days if you leave it on for about 12 to 14 hour days. So if you charge it every other day, you should have no problems. Then it also comes with longer prongs. Journey has shorter hair, so he shouldn't need the longer prongs, but if you notice that it's not making good contact with his neck, you can always change them over if you need to. Then at the bottom of the box is a manual, so if you have any other questions about the remote, you can go through the manual and get those questions answered. Both the remote and collar are waterproof, so if it does get wet, I would just suggest that if he's going to stay wet for a long-term period of time, to rotate the collar so that way it doesn't irritate one part of his neck if it's wet and it's rubbing just a little bit. So you'll just have to rotate it. It's no big deal. And then there is a 2-year warranty. So if you notice you have any problems with the collar or the remote, you can contact the company and hopefully get a replacement or get something figured out. So that is all of the other features of the remote. So have fun and stay consistent.